Until the end of this week, Detroit's hotels, motels, restaurants, and bars are filled with all of the people who flock to the city for the Republican convention. And here to tell us what the convention is doing for Detroit and its image is Detroit's own Emily Gail, the city's freelance convention bureau. Emily, good morning.
Good morning, and glad to be here again.
Listen, how is your favorite city coping with all that onslaught of Republicans?
Well, they really aren't coping, they're strutting.
Strutting?
Like peacocks, yeah. It's been since 18 months ago when it was announced that the convention was coming to Detroit. Detroiters and metropolitan Detroit have been not just excited, but they have been primping. And the results are just so incredibly apparent. It's unbelievable.
Well, you must be strutting, too. I mean, you're the city's biggest.
Well,
sometimes it's only booster.
They tell me I've been strutting since day one, 10 years ago. But there are an awful lot of boosters right now. I'm probably perhaps one of the most vocal and perhaps most eccentric.
So I see your T-shirt, say nice things about Detroit, and that's been your policy for ages now, wandering around saying nice things when nobody else would about your city.
Absolutely, and I mostly because I'm a believer that you can always find something nice to say about a city, but today in Detroit, it's not difficult.
Say something nice.
People, the people, attitudes. The attitudes in Detroit have changed so much in the last couple of years, and it's reflected through the physical changes in Detroit. It's reflected in the numbers of people that are in Detroit. The convention years, right now I can tell you, the numbers of the convention I want to mention are, there's 20,000 people coming to the city. Those numbers aren't so phenomenal for Detroit. In the last 5 years, convention business has increased 65% anyway. We've had those kind of numbers on not a regular basis, but many times over the last 5 years. But this time, 8,000 of those people are from the media. The eyes of the world are on Detroit right now. The things that have been happening in Detroit, the feelings, the attitudes, all the changes, there's an opportunity now for that to be transmitted into words and pictures throughout the world.
Well, how do the people who live there feel about it? I mean, that's a little bit like living in a fishbowl, isn't it, for the next week?
Oh, they love the opportunity because the changes, we live with an old image. Unfortunately, the press throughout the world and throughout the country is about 5 years behind what's really happening in Detroit. So we're happy to have the opportunity to display to the world what has happened. We're happy to have the chance to transmit those feelings through the people that are coming to the city. And it's happening. For the last 6 weeks, there have been tremendous numbers of media who have been in, the technicians, electricians, lighting people, everyone for all the networks, all the newspapers, the correspondents worldwide, all the way from China have been in the city. And we're hearing things, people, even New Yorkers, hardcore, crusty New Yorkers saying, we can't believe it. Things are happening to us that we would never have experienced.
If you get a New Yorker to fall in love with anything but New York, you're really doing well. You must be sitting there with your fingers crossed and holding your breath. I mean, if one of these Republican delegates, just one of them, gets mugged, all your good work's out the window.
Oh, I don't even think about that. Not because I don't, number one, I don't believe it's going to happen, but number two, there is so much good happening. I don't think there's a fear in the city right now. You can't go to the downtown area and feel any kind of fear. It's not there. It's not evident. And it's not just this week that it's not evident. It hasn't been evident the last 2 years.
But a lot of Republicans just the same. We're a little nervous about coming.
But they're coming in with that preconceived idea. And my whole feeling is that the whole world has preconceived ideas about Detroit because of old images, and because of old images that are true.
And Emily, you're out to change the world, right?
Yes, I'm out to change some attitudes that I think need some changing, and I think they are changing. I think the Republican convention and the press, everything that's going to be coming out, everything I've read, the LA Times this morning had a story. They say it's a remarkable, incredible change in the city. The biggest winner, the most surprise, is going to be the city of Detroit itself. The New York Times mentioned that the delegates are in for not just a party. Our slogan for the convention is Detroit loves a good party. Windsor itself is benefiting.
Sure,
They're putting in, they've lengthened their drinking hours to 4 in the morning.
Which is something for an Ontario province, let me tell you.
Blue laws being a thing in the past. It's just an unbelievable, all of metropolitan Detroit, the hotel bookings go from not just inner city, but 2 hours out of the city.
How much do you stand to win from it all? There's an awful lot of money to be made in the next week for your city, isn't there?
Tremendous amounts, but I think more than anything is the future convention bookings, the future itself, 10 years down, to have bright things coming out of the city is going to help everybody.
Thank you, and good luck, and keep on saying nice things about Detroit.
And you too, please.
Emily Gail, Detroit's Freelance Convention Bureau. Do I get one of those
You sure
t-shirts?
do, and I want to
How about that?